What's up, everybody? Today I'm going to be teaching you how to get animations into MCreator using Geckolib. This is something I just made my last video, but it became outdated very quick, and I think they're slowing down with the updates, so I thought I'd go ahead and make an update tutorial. The entire block bench part is still the same, so I'm just going to reuse the footage from my original tutorial, and yeah. Let's get into it. So first things first, you want to go into Blockbench and you want to go into Plugins, Available, look for Geckolib. You should see it here. If you have an older version of the plugin installed, you're gonna have to delete that to see it here. So I don't see it because I already have it installed, but if I uninstalled that, yeah. So, what you're going to want to do is, if you don't already have a model, go to New Geckolib Animated Model. If you do have a model, do Convert Project, Geckolib Animated Model. You should be able to see an Animate tab that's popped up, and I will give a brief tutorial on this, not too in-depth. But, of course, if you just want to skip over this, you already know how to animate with Geckolib, or you think you can do it yourself, then skip to this timestamp, which is where we'll get into the MCreator plugin stuff. Otherwise, make sure to stick around for a brief overview. So to start, you're going to want to add an animation. We'll call this idle. Loop mode. This is a idle animation, so obviously we'd want it to loop. So what we're gonna want to do is we're gonna want to, it's the left arm. We can rotate all of this, and also you want to make sure your pivot points are correct. So use your pivot tool and set the pivots correctly. So for arms and a humanoid character, it would be at the shoulder. For heads, it would be at the neck. For you get the point. The tail actually does not have a good pivot point. You obviously don't have to give anything that you're not using a pivot point, but it's good to have just in general. So for actually animating, if you're familiar with 3D animating software, which I'm gonna assume you are, or just animating software in general, you know about keyframes. These are just little, so basically we have plus, and boom. So now, well, no, that was on rotation. So, and boom. So now, so keyframes are the key movements of an animation, basically, and it will it'll lerp between them. I think that's the right word, or it'll tween between these movements. So you'd want to do something like that if you want to make it so that he doesn't immediately start looking up. Alright, now we've covered that. You have rotation, position, scale. You'll mostly be using rotation and sometimes position. I don't think you're going to be using scale too much. Also, you don't have to press the plus symbol to add a new one. You can simply just move the limb and it'll do it for you. But make sure you have a keyframe at the start with the starting position so that it just works better. So let's get into Alright, so let's add let's make it so that the tail wags. So let's just do that and then reset keyframe. So now we have a keyframe there. So for the start, we're gonna have it like that. No, what we're actually going to do is we're gonna have to turn to it the left at the start. We'll make it 20 to the left, and then here we will make it 20 to the right. Now if we preview that, that is pretty solid. Yeah, so obviously this isn't what you would want your idle animation to be. You'd want it to be something like at least a bit better. So, but yeah, since we're just using this as an example, I will keep it like this. Okay, so what you want to do next is you want to make sure your animations are named correctly. So for idle, you're going to want to make it just idle. Boom. Because if you do this, it will automatically assign it to be the idle animation when you load into MCreator. So let me quickly just make like a walk animation. Okay. So this does have a few built-in animations that you can use, but mostly you'll be using idle and walk. So walk is obviously when it's walking. We'll just make it like... Alright, make sure your walk is also looping. Here we go. We have a simple walk animation. It's not really a walk animation at all, but whatever. So what you're gonna want to do now is you're going to want to export as a Geckolib model. Now, this is very important. Make sure the file name is something like the name of your mob.geo.json. So you're gonna want to save that. Alright, and then after that, just save these animations. And this needs to be redpanda.animation.json. It has to start with the same thing, or it just won't work. So the first one should be redpanda, or your mob's name.geo.json, and then it should be the same as the start, your mob's name.animation.json. I hope that makes sense. Alright, so moving on into MCreator, we're going to want to actually install the plugin right now if you haven't already. So go to the link in the description. It should bring you to a page which is Nerdy's Geckolib plugin. So, of course, big thanks to Nerdy Puzzle for making this. And make sure you are using 2022.3, not 2022.2, as it's not supported anymore. As you can see, you can scroll down the changelog and you can download 3.2. Now this tutorial might become outdated in the future, so I'd recommend, just to be safe, you use 3.2. If you look in the changelog and nothing major has changed though since then, you can probably download a newer version. I'll put in the comments, in the pinned comment, what the newest working version is. So if a new version releases and it still works with this tutorial, I'll put it in the comments. Otherwise, I'll add outdated to the title. Let's just download that. You can put it anywhere. Just make sure you know where you put it. Go into Preferences, Manage Plugins. Alright, so if you already have the plugin downloaded from a past version, you're going to have to uninstall that. So go into the Open Plugins folder and delete this. So To delete it, you're gonna have to restart the software because it won't let you delete it if the software is open. And also, you're going to want to enable Java plugins before you restart. Now, it will say it is a bit risky, so they will have full access to your workspaces and computer. To do that at your own risk, but I think the plugin is pretty safe. So I'm just going to do that. And let's restart it. Delete that. Start back up MCreator. Alright, now that we're back in the workspace, we can go ahead and check out Preferences, Manage Plugins. You can see that's gone now, so load plugin. Nerdy's Geckolib plugin. I'm going to load 7 because that's my version. And there we go. It should say version 3.2 or whatever version you downloaded. So that's all you have to do. Go ahead and do save. Go into the workspace, workspace settings, external APIs. Alright, so it turns out you also have to restart again after you enable Geckolib to get the API support over here. So you're just going to want to head into workspace settings and enable this. Once you restart, refactor workspace, and let it do its thing. Also, if you already have pre-existing entities without the Geckolib stuff, I don't think it's an issue anymore. But if you are getting errors with those entities, you can go ahead and lock them before enabling the API. Just go ahead and disable and re-enable the API. But I do believe that was fixed, so they can now coexist without them being locked. And this is the lock button, by the way. So you just have to select your entity and lock the code. Alright, yeah. Let's get into entity, living entity. Let's call it Red Panda. And for the model, do whatever. Probably want to use the biped. I do believe if you choose chicken, they won't tilt when they die. I might be wrong about that. Choose the texture of your entity. Again, this can be anything. Now, to prove that, I have a redpanda.png, and it's not the red panda texture, so yeah, you can really just make it anything. Now, spawning options, you can do whatever. You can change all the behavior and stuff. You can change all the AI, you can change all the spawning, everything like that, but I don't care to here. So it does seem like normal entities will still cause errors if they're not Geckolib entities. So you're gonna have to lock the element. It's a bit unfortunate, but whatever. Let's go ahead and make a procedure next. And it needs to be element name. So in my case, it's red panda. So you want it to go red, which means that's the exact name. And then add model to the end of it, exactly like this. Create the new procedure. And then on the event trigger, no additional trigger. You've got to scroll down and do setup class Geckolib. This is super important, and I see so many people struggle with this. Make sure this says setup class Geckolib. You can go into the Geckolib tab. You can go ahead and do register Geckolib model entity name, which would be the element's name. So red panda. The model name, which is actually where we're going to have to show the workspace file browser. So this will show your file structure in your workspace. You need to go you need to run this, or you need to open up this, open up this, open up this, open up this. And then you should get down to here. So this would be your tutorials project workspace. Then you're going to want to add folder and call it Geo. Add folder, call it animations. You're going to want to show in Explorer, which will open this up in the File Explorer. Enter into this, and you can go ahead and do animations and find your Red Panda folder, or wherever you put all your animation and geo files. So in animations, you're going to want to copy paste that into animations. Geo, copy paste that into geo. And then we need to do Red Panda. So that would be what the model name is. So it's redpanda.geo.json. So just limit it to the first word before the period. Texture name, that's the name of your PNG file. So I'm going to call it Red Panda Texture, because if we go over here, we can hide the workspace file browser, by the way. We can see that it's Red Panda Texture.png. Head animation for group head. So this will basically mean if there is a group called head in your Geckolib model, it'll move around. It'll kind of look around, like look at the player and stuff. So if you don't have like an idle animation or anything, or it's not animated on your idle animation, that's probably a good idea. But we're not gonna enable it here because we have animations on our head. So we can go ahead and save that. Press do nothing and regenerate the code. It's this little bandage icon up here. And there we go, gradual idle. If you get another error here, go ahead and repeat these steps that you just did, because you clearly did something wrong. And now we're going to get into adding custom animations. So I have an animation that I made off camera, which is just a red panda tilting its head all weird and stuff. And so if we go into redpanda.animation.json, we will see random animations. That's the name of my custom animation. So we're going to want to go ahead and copy that. So that's what we're going to have to enter when we make our procedure. So on our entity, you can do this at any time on any procedure. What we're going to do when right click on the entity, Geckolib. All right, you're going to want to do if entity blank is the event target entity, then play the animation. So let's go ahead and do random animation like we have in our JSON file. And this is going to be your element's name. I have no idea why they did this. The last method was so much more simple, but do it anyway. Save the mod element. Save the entity. And launch your game. Alright, let's go into our red panda. There we go, he's playing our idle animation. Let's see if he will play our walk animation. Indeed will, and if I right click, he does his little head twist. So yeah, that's how you can do it super easy. And I think this will really make MCreator mods feel a lot more alive. So there are animated blocks now, and if you guys would like me to cover that in a separate video, let's get this video to maybe 50 likes, and I will start working on that. Anyway, bye guys!